this is my review of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay, so this episode does a bit of a ballsy move. So the episode starts off with the Joestar group finally arriving in India, with Abdul ensuring them that's a nice country with nice people. And then, case in point, they arrive at this place because the camera's not centered, because they are tourists. Everybody is just hassling them for money. Something that is very bold for the creator to do, and I'm really okay with it. Just the fact that it can just do that with it in their show and nobody will bat an eye is kind of clever. So immediately after arriving, and after that, they go to a restaurant where Polnareff goes to use the bathroom. And while he's in the bathroom, after some complications with the toilet, something about how the pig pen downstairs is a bit too high, so the pigs from downstairs will casually just poke their head through the toilet. Not entirely sure how that works, but Polnareff was given a big stick by the man who runs the toilet, by the washroom attendants, to actually deal with the pigs so that he can actually poop in peace. And that's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in a nutshell, really. Things don't make sense and people are okay with it. Abdul goes to wash his hands and is immediately going to rejoin the group because they ordered for him so that he didn't have to while he was in the bathroom. He's actually attacked by the Stand's Hanged Man. A stand that you may or may not remember is actually the stand of Centerfold, the man who killed Abdul's sister. And after figuring out that the stand can only appear in mirrors, and promptly breaking the mirror in which it's appearing, case in point, the bathroom mirror, Polnareff leaves the restaurant in a frenzy and tries to figure out where Centerfold actually is. It's revealed later where he actually is, but yeah. So Polnareff is panicking and is planning to go finish things off personally, pointing out that the whole reason he's leaving the group is because he wants to be able to do it alone. But Abdul tries to stop him, pointing out that he won't be able to succeed if he does it alone, and calls him out for being stupid. At which point Polnareff points out that Abdul is a bit of a coward himself because he ran from Dio, and they almost come to blows, but Joseph stops it. So yeah, eventually, so the group accepts Polnareff's decision to go alone and figure out where he's going. Although Abdul doesn't really accept it, and that's explained later. But Abdul, as Polnareff is searching around the town for signs of Centerfold, Centerfold has unknowingly joined up with another stand user named Whole Horse, who has the stand named the Emperor, which resembles a handgun. And that's the long and short of it. It's a handgun shaped stand. And I know we've technically seen stands that resemble real world objects before, but technically speaking, this is the first one whose physical appearance is a real world object, as the other two were possessing other objects. For example, Strength resembled a giant freighter, but it was possessing another boat, which in turn it then transformed into a freighter, and therefore its true form isn't actually known, but it only resembles a freighter when it's possessing a boat. And then there's Ebony Devil, whose true form we see briefly, but winds up possessing a doll for the majority of the episode it's debuted in. So yeah, technically speaking, Emperor is the first stand that actually resembles a man-made object that isn't possessing something to begin with, to resemble said man-made object. Eventually he and Centerfold team up and go to take down Polnareff, who kind of fell for the trap of getting him alone by remotely attacking him with Hanged Man, which is revealed to be a remote stand, by the way, because as Centerfold was just hanging out in a desert somewhere and letting his stand do all the dirty work for him. And case in point, during the fight, he isn't actually physically present. He's just, his stand is, but he's not. So Polnareff Polnareff goes to challenge Whole Horse and Centerfold, only to discover that Centerfold has mysteriously disappeared. I'm assuming that's one of his stand powers. He can just disappear and reappear in reflective surfaces at will. I'm assuming that's what happens. But yeah, Whole Horse brags about how he's going to win. It's typical villain stuff, and points out that his weapon being ranged makes it far superior than Silver Chariot, which is very short range base. And case in point is able to control the bullet fired from Emperor and change its trajectory. And Polnareff would have died if Avdol hadn't stepped in and tried to break up the fight. And he's followed by the rest of the Joestar group shortly after, but are unable to actually get to him first. And unfortunately, Avdol is presumably killed by Hanged Man and Emperor tag teaming him. Because Hanged Man is able to appear in reflective surfaces, he's able to sneak up in the puddle behind Avdol and stab him in the back, which isn't enough to finish him off, but the bullet from Emperor definitely is, and then he presumably dies. I'm not entirely sure if he actually dies but for all intents and purposes, he is dead in this. He is believed to be dead by all the characters. I don't know if he actually dies I don't know if he's actually if he actually does die in this episode. I mean, it says on the website that he's a core ally for quite a while, so who knows how long. So who knows if he actually dies in this episode or not. But that would be kind of odd if he just died if one of the main cast just up and died in the middle of this story. I mean, it's not out of the question, but sometimes these things happen. But yeah, he's unable to deal with the fact that he had just got tag teamed by two stands and is presumed dead. And Kakyoin cradles his lifeless body and is convinced that he'll wake up at any point. And Polnareff tries to keep a straight face and tries to keep a serious demeanor by harshly calling him out for all of his faults. But then it's revealed that Polnareff is in fact not okay, and in fact the fact that people wind up dying on him basically all the time, apparently, up to this point, because first his sister and now Avdol, people around him have a tendency to die. It's just a thing that happens for some reason, and he might be cursed. We don't know, but it's clear that he's not okay because at Avdol actually dying. So he's clearly heartbroken, but he's trying to keep a straight face. But eventually, he does start crying, and his true feelings finally come through about how he feels about Avdol. Even though, like, literally 5 seconds ago, he was complaining about how Avdol was always a worrywart. So yeah, I mean, now they have to avenge Avdol now, because they have two stand users who kind of teamed up on him, and that wasn't entirely fair. So yeah, it's clear that Avdol means a lot to Polnareff and the rest of the group. Obviously, because he was a very good friend for quite a few episodes. But it's also clear that Avdol's death means that they now have more than one reason to actually take down the two stand users that killed him, Whole Horse and Centerfold. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure how they're going to be able to deal with those two, because it's quite apparent that Centerfold can materialize his stand pretty much anywhere he wants, so long as it's in a reflective surface, and Whole Horse kind of has the whole range thing going, and he can control his bullet wherever he wants it to go. So it's clear they're going to have quite a bit of trouble taking down two stands that complement each other so well. But yeah, who knows how this is going to play out? I honestly have no idea. I mean, it's too I mean, they do have kind of a problem because one stand is a ranged attack and is also a gun, which is literally one of the deadliest things ever. Is Emperor supposed to be like a commentary on gun safety or something like that? Is that why it's a gun? I mean, it would make sense. I wouldn't put it past him, but I wouldn't put it past Jojo's to do that. But who knows? But yeah, it's clear that they have two stands that complement each other so well, and they're not going to be able to deal with them all too well because, well, see the aforementioned death of Avdol, because he was unable to deal with both of them at once, and he wound up presumably being killed. But who knows? If you guys did enjoy this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, what did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, check out my Patreon description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, so I would definitely appreciate it if you did that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!